Are you limiting your outcomes by visualizing them? Hey guys, it's John here in the studio with a beautiful mug of John's Joe coffee. A lot of butter in it this morning, which is wonderful. I find that the butter and the warmth actually helps my throat a lot. My voice is a little raw right now, so it's actually lovely. I wanted to talk about this concept of visualization. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to people in private sessions, they will be in the state of visualizing what they want their future to look like. Well, it's an interesting idea, and I'm not bashing that technique. A lot of people use it, and it's great. I have found for me personally, however, that visualization actually limits the potential outcome. When I stick more to the feelings of what I'm creating and not the minutia of detail of a picture, I find that I get much better outcomes and greater than I could possibly have imagined. One of the manifestations I did years ago was I said, thank you, God, for the opportunity to help people all over the world in profound ways. I had no idea that was going to make me a YouTuber. I had no idea that was going to connect me with Alex Ferrari. And, I've spoken to people all over the world, and I get letters almost every day to say how it helped. So, to me, if I had to put a limitation on that and said helping people all over the world, meaning that I had to travel and picturing myself traveling to all these locations, then I would actually be less effective. See, yesterday alone, I spoke to England, Australia, and California. And, I could not have done that in one day traveling. Instead, I'm affecting people all over the world in a positive way. If I'd have visualized the traveling, I'd be traveling like crazy. And don't get me wrong, I love traveling, but now I'd rather travel for leisure rather than business. So I often say in a lot of my videos that God speaks to us in feelings, not thinkings. And one of the things that happens is when we start to visualize, we start creating this idea of what it has to be, right? And we've limited into this framework of that has to have this exact picture. Oftentimes, people, if they're trying to manifest love in their life, they'll choose someone, which is trying to negate somebody else's free will. And so it really comes down to visualize. If you want a loving partner, thank you, God, for the beautiful, loving relationship I'm receiving. There's beautiful and loving. There's those two feeling words. It feels beautiful. It feels loving. And there's no limitation to that. It could be whatever comes into your life, right? And when you start putting the idea of an image on it, you're limiting it to that image. But you have to remember that the image itself is just the illusion of the world around you. It's the feelings that things engender that we really want in life. We want that feeling of unconditional love. We want that feeling of compassion. We want that feeling of abundance. We want that feeling. It all comes down to the feelings. So when you start to look at your world from a process of what do I want my world to feel like, the first thing you'll realize is you don't feel that way now. And when you shift yourself into I am receiving that and you start to feel that outcome, next thing you know, you're going to have this feeling coming into your life because you're being the feeling. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Oftentimes people who teach manifestation, law of attraction, they're gonna focus in on visualization because it's something someone can do and they can have that picture in their head. But in reality, what they're engendering is the feeling of that picture. But I'm telling you that the picture itself can be limiting on something greater. The idea of visualization, it really comes down to mental rigidity. You start to get really rigid on this is how it has to be, and you don't realize that there's so much more it could be, and there's so much more available to you. The infinite is possible. People will often visualize from the sense of limitation. This, I know I can't have that, so I'm visualizing this. Or, it's just amazing to me that people don't understand that they are part of God, and God is unlimited. And you have the ability to step into a, a life that you feel good in, you know, the exact job, the exact partner, the exact house, all those things. You can get them, sure. But what happens if you could have had a better job, a more loving partner, and a better house? You know, how about saying that I'm receiving a house that fulfills my every need and makes me feel welcome and cozy in it? You know, you can focus on those things and then suddenly find a house that normally you never would have looked at, but then you end up moving into that house and you're like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. You see, those feelings are the resonance. You know, Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy, frequency, and vibration. In the physical world, all of those are experienced as feelings. We feel the energy of that person. We understand that they are that type of person because of their frequency. You know, the vibration is all of that. It's that feeling. And when you understand that you can take that feeling like it's a language, you know, the language of God is feelings. So you're into something you don't like, you say, this is not for me, because that's what the universe is telling me. That's what God is telling me, that this is not for me. So I say, okay, this is not for me. I am doing this. And you put this beautiful feeling out to manifest into your life. It's a language. God speaks to us in feelings. We respond in feelings. The more visualization you put into it, for me personally, the more visualization I put into it, the less effective my creations are. The more I open it up to beautiful, loving, and then my life is now exciting because now I'm not forcing it into the control of this specific image. I'm opening it up to something bigger and broader and more, and possibly more loving, more caring. And for me personally, it always ends up better than I could have possibly imagined. You know, my job is not the how, and the visualization is the how. My job is to declare the feelings and be the frequency and the energy and the vibration of the outcome I'm choosing. You know, picturing yourself traveling, great. Picture yourself doing this, great. Picturing the exact house, you know, that somebody's already living in, you know, wherever, you could absolutely find something better. There's unlimited out there. That frequency, that vibration, right? It's like I'm tuning into the feeling that I want out of my manifestation, out of my creation. And when I bring myself into that feeling, I am being that feeling in the now. And the more I'm being that feeling in the now, the more that resonance and that vibration surrounds my experience. You know, and the other thing is people will often visualize because they're not actually putting trust in the universe and God, right? They're not putting trust that that this greater awareness that we're part of understands what we truly are desiring. And when we say, I am receiving a joyful life surrounded by people I love, who love me in return, as I live abundantly in a joyful life full of laughter, right? There's nothing in there that's specific. It's all feeling. And the next thing you know, you get a life that looks like that because the universe is going to give you that faster because you haven't limited it by a visualization. Oftentimes people will talk about surrendering to God. Now, I don't like the term surrender because to me it's a military term of losing, giving up. But I think more along the line of release. I'm releasing the limitations. I'm releasing the boundaries. I'm releasing the thoughts that keep me in a structure that I have to control. I'm releasing. I'm choosing something, and I'm releasing it to go out to the source, to God, to consciousness, to yada yada. Right. When I talk about these private sessions I do, it's fascinating to me because I had, like I said, I had no idea what I was going into. I declared that I was receiving an opportunity to help people all over the world in profound ways. And I ended up started booking these private sessions. And before the private sessions, I used to do everything in person. And before I started doing these private sessions, like, how do you do this over Zoom? How do I make this happen over Zoom? And I got the inspiration, the thought that came in from the universe that said, sit down and do an automatic writing before every session. And I was like, okay, it's not really something I do, So I tried it. And it was like the perfect thing. It laid out perfectly. And next thing you know, I started doing them. Last year, I did over 700 of them. And it ended up being exactly the right thing. I never would have said that I'm going to be an automatic writer who does private sessions on Zoom. That would never have been the visualization I would have created, right? But because I left it open, helping people all over the world in profound ways, the universe gave me something unique, because I'm also an introvert. Most people don't realize that. I like being home. I don't like going out into the crowds because I feel it all. I feel everything. So I feel like a bull in a china shop when I'm in a crowd. I'm a big burly guy, and I feel all their energy. I feel all their emotions. So I'm like, I like being home. I spoke to over 700 people last year from my front room. It was the perfect outcome. The chance for me to help people all over the world in profound ways. Put out videos that I get messages every day saying how the videos have helped. And when the structure of it was exactly what God was giving me, right? It understood that I liked being in my home. It understood that I wanted to help people all over the world. It understood that the best outcome would be for me to help people all over the world, but never leave home. And it totally laid out. It was totally perfect for me. I didn't limit it by a visualization of me traveling all over the world. I didn't limit it, right? The universe gave me something far better than I could have imagined. Right now my voice is raw because I do so many sessions, and I'm trimming that back. Yeah, it was the greatest manifestation ever, the greatest creation ever. But it was only because I released the idea of a framework. I just said I am receiving an opportunity to help people all over the world in profound ways. The universe knows that I'm an introvert, knows, because I'm part of the universe. It's understandable, right? So it comes to me in that beautiful way that is so perfect for me. That idea of creating comes with understanding that we have to shift our focus. And instead of visualizing the perfect job, focus on the feeling of joy and fulfillment and abundance doing something you love that has purpose, right? Instead of picturing a specific house, focus on the coziness and the comfort and the happiness you feel in a home with a hearth and just a beautiful feeling of it, right? And understand the house will come. As you start to visualize, take a second and say, no, I'm just going to start to feelize. I'm going to feel it. Feelize, my new word. Feelize. I'm going to bring it into reality in a feeling rather than a visual. And the more I bring it into that feeling, the better the outcome. It starts to flow. That resonance happens, that vibration happens, that frequency happens, and suddenly it starts to surround. And the outer illusion is a product of the inner feeling. And the more you stay in that outer illusion, the less you're in the feeling. Come back to the feeling. The Adam and Eve story. They ate from the tree of knowledge. They got kicked out of paradise. They got in their heads and out of their feelings. It's a matter of coming back to the feelings, because the word feelings, they ate from the tree of knowledge. They got kicked out of paradise. Paradise is the feelings. Because for me, like I say, a beach is a paradise, and for somebody else, a mountain might be a paradise. It's not the place; it's the feeling. And so we get out of our feeling way, and we get into our heads about what it has to be and the control of what it has to be. And next thing you know, we're in that place. We find out that it's not the best it could be. Right? Choose to shoot for the stars. understanding that the stars may be more than you can visualize. Sit down, really figure out what you want your life to feel like. And then after you make that list, what do I want my life to feel like? And you write it all down. Go back and look at the list and see how many of those things you don't feel now. And when you look at those things and you go, oh, I don't feel them now. Why don't I feel them now? Why do I want them? Because I want them because I don't feel them now. Okay, so what if I was just them now? What if I just chose to be that feeling now? What would happen? What would happen is the world would start to show you a world of that feeling, because that's the way it works. Now, a lot of times visualization will lead you to doubt, because you'll have this limited belief about what it can be and what it's going to be. Sound like my George Carlin voice there for a second. When we have that visualization of what it's going to be, and when it doesn't look like that coming into our experience, we doubt, we fear, we go, well, this isn't what it was supposed to be. What happens if what's coming in is better? And you just don't realize how much better it is yet. There was a time I was trying to manifest myself being a owner of a Renaissance festival, and it wasn't going to work out because I was never fully there. I was never fully in that feeling of being the owner of that Renaissance festival. Much prefer doing what I'm doing now in life, because it's just that much more than I ever thought it could be. And understand when you're first doing this, it's normal to feel resistance to something that's not ordinary, or letting go, or releasing. We try to hold control in our life. That's what visualization is controlling the exact outcome. And like I said, for many people, visualization works great. My only question is, how much better could it have been? And for me, I personally, and like I said, spirituality is a personal journey. For me, I had to release the visualizations and come back to the feeling of it and put it into the feeling frame. Understand that the universe is not out there to trick you or fool you or mess with you. The universe is out there to give you what you're believing, what you're being, what you're feeling. Universe is a magnet, and the power of that magnet is what you feel. If negative people will see a negative world because they believe it's a negative world. Positive people see a positive world for the same reason. They believe it's a positive world. Your outcome is the feeling and belief that you're receiving this beautiful thing that feels this way. And the visualization can be part of it, sure. Question is by choosing a visualization, are you limiting the potential outcome of something better? So here's what I'd like to say. If you've never created things in your life this way, take some time to simply say, what do I want my life to feel like? And start looking at that feeling that you want to be surrounding you at all times. And start saying, okay, I am joyfully receiving this feeling where I have this purpose and I am abundant and I am all the feelings that you want to experience in life. Let me just say this. When I did this for myself, my world changed dramatically. Everything got better. Everything got more fluid. Everything got more easy. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. Struggle is the vibration that you're putting out. Put the vibration of ease and abundance and joy and love into the world, and you'll have that experience. And if you limit it with it has to be this house and this person and this outfit and this stuff, then you're actually putting a limitation. It's like putting a dam in the river. Open the floodgates, let it flow, but understand it's only going to flow where you feel it's going to flow. So you feel it's going to be good, you feel it's going to be bad, you feel it's going to be limited. That's what you're going to get. Give it a shot, and then come back to this video and leave a comment about how this has worked for you. Because the more we share on this channel, the more we share about how things are working in our lives, the more people can learn from and become more effective in creating the life they love. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.